Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Monday, February 7, 2022, and the sun is in Aquarius as well as Saturn. Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, along with the non-traditional ruler of Uranus. So Aquarius is very much focused on those Saturn ideas of structural integrity, personal stability, and our responsibility to maintain those structures that keep us feeling supported. And Aquarius, being ruled both by Saturn and by Uranus, sort of seeks to have strong foundations, to have good structure, have good supportive networks, but not just for me and mine, but for everybody. So when we're under the influence of Aquarius, we're very much in the mind of like, what is going to work to help everybody. And Aquarius is interested in making changes, Uranus, where it is necessary to make those foundations feel strong for more people. Revolutionary and egalitarian Aquarius wants everyone to have what they need so that we can all fulfill our creative potential. It isn't enough to survive. We want to thrive. We want to live satisfied, just, and equitable lives. So that's very much the importance of Aquarius sun in our lives. When the sun shines through Aquarius, that those themes become more important to us, and especially with Saturn there, it's really about the foundational structures. It's really about those things that help us feel supported, not just alone at home, but like in the community. And the moon is in Taurus today. It is still a waxing crescent, but today is the day before the first quarter moon here. So, we're getting ready to transition out of the planning phase and into the acting phase, right? So this is planning. And it's okay at this time if you've got something to act on to go ahead and act on it. But what we're doing is we're acting on our plans. We're doing the footwork, making the calls, making the arrangements we have to make in order to achieve some sort of short-term or long-term goal in time for the full moon, which is just over a week away now. And the moon is in Taurus today, and Taurus is very much a grounded feeling of, enjoying to be at home, enjoying the sensual comforts of home. We want to be cozy, we want to be comfortable, we want to be well fed, and really just gather those comforts of home around us. Okay, let's take a look at the planets here, and then we'll get into the aspects. Almost all of the planets actually are on the page today, so I'm going to go through them very quickly. The sun represents the outer life, that is who you are in your work, social, and civic spaces. The moon represents your inner life. It's more about your relationship with yourself, your body, and your heart and mind, and also who you are in your home space. Mercury is your personal intellect, your day-to-day running around, thoughts, plans, and communications. Venus is not really on the page today, but Venus is Taurus's ruling planet. Venus is your personal planet for love and money, or how do you relate to those people and things that you value the most. Mars is about personal initiative, that fire in your gut that gets you going. Chiron is about healing, especially the healing that each of us is doing in our lifetime and our capacity to heal. Jupiter represents growth, expansion, positive, good fortune. Saturn, again, is about stability. It's about those structures and networks that we work to maintain. Uranus brings about change by asking us to do things differently. And Pluto represents complete and total transformations, the deep changes that we go through as we're brought through extremes of experience. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the aspects. You can see there are a number on the page today. we have two columns here, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives, and the aspects and transits it makes are relatively brief. They have more of an impact on our thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. The sun sheds light on our outer lives, and I address the sun's aspects and the rest of the planets here because they have more of an impact on who we are in our outer lives, and they generally take longer than the moon's transits and aspects. These aspects today, they're all about 2 hours long. And we start, the lunar side aspects are about 2 hours long, and we start with the moon side of the page today, Central Standard Time, at 9:58 in the morning. The moon makes a sextile with Jupiter. So Jupiter is all about our potential for growth, for expansion beyond just the average life, just the average set of skills for being, like, higher education, broader travel, and big business, that kind of stuff. And when it relates to the moon, which is your heart and home, then this represents, growth potential, positive expansion potential that comes from the heart, comes from you, your body, yourself, your inner life. And the guidance I was given when I was looking into this was to, make your plans and keep your eyes on the prize. This sextile aspect is cooperative, it's dynamic, it's likely to generate something positive if we choose to make use of it. And then these next two, they come in about an hour apart. 1:21 p.m. and 2:22 p.m. And being 2-hour aspects, that means that they overlap. So I kind of took them together. The moon in aspect with Mars, especially in this trine aspect, is like really positive, synchronistic, functioning vibes between your heart and your sense of initiative. There might be coincidence there. There's definitely a harmonious vibe. You know that, whatever you're doing is really going to work for you. And then the moon in conjunct with Neptune, moon and Neptune, that's like an urge to make changes, especially in the heart of or home. You could have a change of heart, or something's got to, go or come in or change inside the home. And conjunct is an amplification of both of those. So they're really like right on top of each other in the sky, and so they could be said to sort of brighten one another's effects. So this is really a compulsion to change, not just an urge to change things. And it comes from the heart. It comes from your personal self, your personal sense of what it's like to be in your home and in your body. So putting those together, the guidance that I received was that, if we have any blinders on, if we have anything on that's, if we have anything that we've been avoiding dealing with, okay, that's what I mean by blinders. If there's something that we're just not acknowledging or, refusing to see, it's time to take your blinders off and see it for what it really is. This is a great time to do it with this trine. Gives you really harmonious functioning with this conjunct. You're really almost compelled to do it. So, remove your blinders and collaborate with your people, okay? With your people that you keep closest to your heart, the people you keep in your home, so that you can make a positive shift for the better. We're always trying to improve ourselves in one way or another, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's part of the human, sort of the part of the human, part of being human is to make it a goal to become a better human as we go on. So just realize that there are things that you might not be paying attention to on purpose, or you might be trying to shut out, and it's time to stop doing that and really just let it in and take that sense of initiative and make those changes in the home. It will be for the better. And then at 6 o'clock straight up in the evening, the moon makes a trine with Venus. Moon in aspect with Venus generally has us feeling really open and receptive, especially to love and affection and connection with others. Especially with the trine function here, that tells me that we're all going to be feeling very loving and open and and accepting of love and affection from others. So it should be really easy to get the affection that we need and the attention that we need. Remain relaxed and flexible. Avoid being rigid about how you receive your affection, and from whom, because sometimes affection just comes from a friend. It comes from an outside source. It doesn't have to be like that deep romantic love. Understand that this says that there's balance coming into our heart and home to create ideal functioning. So, look around you at your love and money, at those things that you value the most, that you keep closest to you, and understand that there's some balance coming in to make all of that work well together in your favor to get you what you need. And then on Tuesday morning at 1:01 a.m., the moon makes a square as Saturn. So this is a nice middle of the night thing. Perhaps you'll just sleep through this mood, this vibe, this emotional transit, this transitory emotional aspect. But in case you are up, especially if you're having trouble sleeping, because that's part of feeling secure, is being able to sleep. And it's important to avoid being rigid or aggressive in the search for security. Saturn can be a little bit cold. It can be a little too hard and too firm. It can be a little repressive sometimes, especially with a square aspect. It can feel a little too, like things feel a little too close. We feel like we don't have enough movement. And this is, particularly as it relates to the heart and home. So, the advice at that time is just to remember that being rigid isn't going to necessarily help. Okay. On the sun side of the page, in the ongoing column, we have Mercury conjunct Pluto. And we'll be dealing with this through the 12th. So we're in the last week. And this is our invitation to look back on how Mercury conjunct Pluto has affected us. For part of that time, Mercury was in retrograde. So a lot of it was about having tough conversations with ourselves about the things that we intend to grow on, the things that we want to leave behind, the transformation, that is involved in, becoming more like who you really are than the person you were before. And sometimes we are made to struggle for our transformations. I'm always saying transformation is inevitable, but it also can come about more slowly if we're not willing to fight for them. Okay, if you see, you have some idea that there's some transformation that you're trying to go through, if you feel that happening and you're not using your intuitive practices and you're not really giving it any thought, understand that might slow the process down. Okay, sometimes you've got to work for it a little bit. And understand also that when we're making transformations, and this is particularly as pertains to the way we think, the way we communicate, the way we make plans, when we're making transformations in regards to our approach to dealing with other people and ourselves in life, something is going to get left behind. Some part of you is going to get left behind, and it's okay to mourn the loss. Sometimes the part of you left behind, you're like, oh, that person was an asshole, I don't want anything to do with them. But other times it's like, well, I miss being really super nice to people, right? Even though being really super nice to people is not really always working for me. It doesn't always get the point across. It doesn't always get you what you want. Sometimes the transformed way to be is to be a little more direct about your communications and be willing to ask for what you want. And so, at that point, you have to leave behind the person who was too nice to ask for what they wanted. And then also on this side of the page, we have, was this day 2 or 3? I think this is day 3 of 4 for Mars square Chiron. Maybe it's 2. I don't know. We'll come back to it tomorrow. So this is, your sense of initiative, trying to find some sort of solutions or healing, mending offenses, or just, some further wholeness that was not there before. Okay, so we want to act on the mending of fences. We want to act on our desire to heal or to find a solution that will pull us forward. But with the square aspect in there, we're facing challenges. So, the guidance I received was that beneath the impatience and irritable vibes that might come up because you're dealing with Mars and a square aspect, something within us is working to be born. Okay, so something fresh and whole is going to come out of the struggle that we're having with these transformations and changes that we're going through. Practice some tenderness and compassion, especially with yourself and also with others, and use your intelligence, okay? Not just your fiery, passionate heart, okay? Not just your desire to change toward wholeness, but your intelligence, all right? Your intellect up here to solve problems now, especially because, again, Mercury is in Capricorn right now. It is ruled by Saturn, so it's important to remember that solving problems is part of the mode right now. We want to we need mountains to climb and problems to solve is a statement that I hear Capricorn making. So invoke that, because Capricorn is here and here and here and here on the sun side of the page. That's all Saturn. It's all about your personal sense of stability in the inner life and in the outer life. And then I brought this up a couple days ago, and then I forgot to bring it back on. So I'm so sorry about that. We've sort of missed out on this discussion about Mars sextile Jupiter, but we are just sort of coming out of this energy. It's still with us a little bit. Jupiter, in this case, because this is sextile, so it's very cooperative and, again, generative. Jupiter is generously granting us positive outcomes for our efforts. Okay, so if we make an effort to leave our impatience and irritability behind so that we can find a more whole way to be, if we have to leave some part of ourselves behind to be better communicators or better planners, if we've had to struggle to make the changes and transformations that we want, this is Jupiter saying, hey, it's going to keep working at it. It's going to be all right. I'm working with you. Okay. That's great news. So that's it for today on the page. Tomorrow is the first quarter moon in Taurus, and that will be our opportunity to come out of the planning phase and shift into the acting on your plans phase, so that hopefully you've made some sort of a short-term goal, or maybe you have a long-term goal that is culminating pretty soon, so that you'll have something to celebrate when the full moon comes. It's a time of full expression. It's a time of appreciating what we have made, what we have done, and what we have in general. Pardon me. Also, tomorrow, Mars is going to make this trine aspect with Uranus. So, Mars is really active right now. And I really like this positive aspect coming up because it's trine, it's harmonious functioning, it's like an ideal situation for us to take initiative toward doing things differently. And then on Friday, we're going to see the second iteration as Mercury conjunct Pluto is on its way out. Friday is the 10th, and then we're gonna follow that through the 12th, and then Mercury is going to go into Aquarius, and Pluto will still be, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so they will no longer be conjunct. But yeah, so we're coming to the end of these vibes right here. All right, and that is it for today's aspects. If you have any questions, comments, considerations that you want to share with me, please put them in the comments section below. And at this point, I'm in the habit of throwing a tarot card at the end of my episode here. The Six of Swords tarot card here on the side has to do with the sun's transit through Aquarius. It's the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Aquarius. And this represents sort of moving away from conflict, creating space for yourself, and perhaps learning a little bit better how to use our thoughts, words, and actions. So I think that's really applicable. Normally, I would just shuffle these cards up. I assure you I shuffled them before I started here today, but I'm having a little trouble with my other shoulder, so I can't really do that today. I'm just going to spread these out and choose one as I remind myself about the heavy Saturn influence and the Sun in Mercury and the Sun in Aquarius and the Moon in Taurus and these struggles we're having, but also this really positive day of like lunar aspects that we have ahead of us that is really something nice to see, especially after yesterday's more negative, maybe kind of painful vibe. Okay, so I'm just going to choose this one. The Hanged One. Okay, so the Hanged One is a position of gaining new perspective. You know, there's a vibe about this that you're kind of stuck. I don't think you really hung yourself up there on that tree, but you're not hanging in a dangerous way. You're pretty relaxed in that position. And while you're kind of stuck in this position, waiting for somebody to come and let you down, then you get to watch things go on around you, and that is to help you gain some not respect, but perspective. And, you know, perhaps there's respect to be gained from having gained that perspective. So, you know, if you find yourself in a space in any facet of your life where you feel like you're waiting for something to happen and you can't really move forward until something happens, you know, take that opportunity to really take a look around at what is going on around you while you wait, so that you can bring more sort of informed agency to your actions when you are set free from that moment of feeling stuck. And I think that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for joining me today for your daily aspects. I appreciate all of you that show up every day, and even those of you who just showed up for the first time. And I will see you all back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.